I want to now go out to NewsNation On Balance host Leland Vittert. Leland, you're joining us from home tonight. This just coming in within the last few minutes. Your take on the breaking news that just came in.
Niall pointed it out very well that sort of as this is happening, you have to realize the broad-reaching ramifications, both politically, in terms of the Democrats keeping the Senate, them being able to push judicial nominees through. We don't know who's going to control the House. The week keeps getting worse for Republicans. So who knows who's going to control the House? Remember, they thought they were going to be able to declare control of the House and have a Republican celebration Tuesday night at 9 p.m. None of that has developed. And you asked a great question, which is this is just another Trump candidate who failed or who lost. I will put a little bit finer point on this. Adam Laxalt losing in Arizona for Senate is another Trump-backed Senate candidate who has failed. Adam Laxalt loses in Nevada, but Joe Lombardo, the Republican, wins in Nevada. Brian Kemp, the anti-Trump Republican in Georgia, wins as governor. Herschel Walker is now behind. It's going to a runoff in Georgia. Ohio, Mike DeWine, the anti-Trump or Trump-agnostic governor, wins by 10 points more than Trump-backed J.D. Vance does. Pennsylvania, Mehmet Oz and Doug Mastriano lose. And then all of a sudden you get to New Hampshire, where Don Bolduc lost by 20 points compared to the Republican governor, Chris Sununu, who's Trump skeptical at best, who won. It's very difficult, and it's becoming harder and harder to not look at these midterms as a repudiation of Donald Trump's endorsements.
And Leland, while I still have you, one thing I have been curious about, now that the Senate has gone blue and Democrats now control the Senate, what does this mean for the Georgia special election and voter turnout for that when the Senate's already been decided?
Boy, is that a great question. Brian Kemp, the governor who won re-election, was pulling Herschel Walker along, albeit by a couple of points less. Second of all, no longer can you tell Republicans who were pretty skeptical of Herschel Walker for a lot of reasons in the beginning, hey, come out and vote because control of the Senate matters. Vote for Herschel Walker. Yeah, it's going to not really be great being represented by Herschel Walker because he has a tendency to say wacky things on the campaign trail and will probably say wacky things in the United States Senate. But hey, it's control of the U.S. Senate. Come out and vote. That argument's gone. And the flip side for Republicans is they don't want to have to answer for Herschel Walker's wacky things over the next 6 years. And everything he says in the Senate when there's cameras following him around all the time. It's going to be very interesting to see over the next 3 or 4 weeks how many Republicans, 3 weeks now till December 6th, how many Republicans say they support Herschel Walker versus really going all in on support of Herschel Walker. Does Ron DeSantis come up and do one rally for Herschel, or does he do a bus tour? Does Ted Cruz stay on the bus tours? The other sort of big heavyweight Republicans, do they put money behind Herschel Walker? Does Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott come into town multiple times? There's probably a lot of Republicans right now as it relates to Herschel Walker who might be breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief of, hey, there's an exit ramp here that we don't have to deal with him in the Senate for the next 6 years.
And to pivot, just another question for you, Leland. Democrats now have control of the Senate. Take us to the House now. Set the stage for what we should be looking for, what Americans should be on the lookout for, and how, what you expect to come from House races.
Boy, if I had a crystal ball, I would have been able to tell you things a lot differently on Tuesday night. If you looked out on the horizon Tuesday morning, there was this big red wave. Niall said that there were expectations. There was expectations of a red wave, and there was data to support that. And as the wave keeps getting closer and closer and closer and closer to the shore, it keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So we haven't gotten to the point where we can say whether or not the House is going to be Republican. Either way, it's going to be within a couple of seats. And you think about Kevin McCarthy right now, who is just sitting there with his head in his hands going, God, even if I am the speaker, I have a 1 or 2 seat majority, maybe a 3-seat majority in the House. That is very, very, very difficult because essentially each one of those members all 219 or 220 or whatever Republicans end up with, if they're in the majority, have a veto over Kevin McCarthy's leadership. It reminds you of the Polish parliament back in the 1930s, where everybody had to agree in order to get anything done. Nothing gets done. And the Freedom Caucus, to the right flank of Kevin McCarthy, has an enormous amount of power, and the slimmer the majority for Republicans, the more power. And it's not out of the question to think about that you could end up with a tie in the House. And then who knows what happens. So we live in very interesting times, and we continue to live in more and more interesting times the longer this election goes.
And producers, I know Joe Khalil is standing by. Let us know when he's ready. But Leland, I think so many Americans, too, looked at this week and are surprised by the results. It wasn't what a lot of people, or polls for that matter, were anticipating. I'm sure this answer is multifaceted, but what do you... why is that? What are kind of the core reasons that we were all so surprised by what we've seen this week?
Well, polling is only as good as the models, and Chris Steyerwalt pointed out on Monday and Tuesday of this week, as we were meeting and talking about if we're wrong, why are we wrong? If there's not a red wave, and you play these games out ahead of time, so you sort of understand the dynamics. Why were we wrong? And it's very simple. For the past 3 or 4 election cycles, pollsters have undercounted Republicans and have been embarrassed by it. The polls were wrong in 2016. The polls are wrong. The polls are wrong. The polls were wrong in 2020. It's a very common Republican talking point. So the pollsters decided, again, Chris Steyerwalt's word, we are going to be wrong in a new and different and exciting way. So they juiced Republican turnout in the models, so they weren't undercounting Republicans, but they undercounted Democrats. And there was a lot more Democratic enthusiasm, especially on the issue of abortion, than there was accounted for, and then we really saw. And perhaps the models that everyone looked at back in August, when January 6th committee hearings were underway, and when abortion was a serious issue, those models and that look at how the midterms were going to go appear now to be much, much more accurate than what we were looking at in October.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.